This is Commissioner Linker. We are starting our subcommittee meeting. Just a quick little update. Before we get started and with the officialness, I will want to point out that I've been having some internet connectivity, and I've already talked to Dr. Fair about what happens if I get kicked off. The problem so far, I think it's in Zoom and not, so maybe we won't have an issue with since we're on GoToMeeting. But just in case, I'm also outside because we're having some work done in the front and the dog is not liking the gas dude. So he's barking. So I'm outside in the backyard. So with that said, we're going to do the call to order, roll call, and approval of minutes, but we're going to do a little flip-flop and talk about timeline in case I get kicked off before we look at the Canvas course. Is everybody okay with that? So Dr. Fair, if you want to get ready, I'm going to call the meeting to order and we'll do roll call. So welcome to the subcommittee meeting from May the 7th.
Right. So for the roll call, Commissioner William Cheshire.
Commissioner Cheshire here.
Commissioner Angela Flowers.
Commissioner Flowers here.
Commissioner Hannah Jimenez. Commissioner Kathleen Linker.
Commissioner Kathleen Linker here.
Commissioner Lindsay Sice.
Commissioner Lindsay Sice here.
Okay. We have 4 members present, so you have quorum.
Okay. First, if you've had a chance to look at the minutes, we received them in an email. When you feel like you've had enough time and if you don't have any questions, we'll take a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting.
Commissioner Sice, motion to approve the minutes from April 30th.
Commissioner
Okay.
Cheshire, second motion.
Okay, and so that's my motion, my second. So Dr. Fair, if we can do a roll, go through the roll to approve.
Commissioner William Cheshire.
Commissioner Cheshire, approve.
Okay. Commissioner Angela Flowers.
Aye.
Commissioner Kathleen Linker.
Commissioner Linker, approve.
And Commissioner Lindsay Sice.
Commissioner Sice approves.
So you
Great.
have
Unanimous approval. So the next thing, let's talk about, like I said, just in case something happens and I get kicked off. We did send out an invitation for peer review for the commissioner course, and that will not be due until Monday. And still finishing up on the advisor course and adding some additional resources within it. Would like to propose that we meet again next time. So for the timeline, would be adding our next meeting 3 weeks from today, which would be May the 28th. I'm not sure what that's like for the commission members in other districts. I know we in my district will already be adjourned for the school year. Is that okay with everyone else? Anybody want to pick a different date than Thursday, or does that sound doable?
Commissioner Sice, that's fine.
Anyone have a conflict that you know of?
Commissioner Cheshire, I do not have a conflict. I'm good with it.
Commissioner Flowers, I'm good.
Okay, so then for our timeline, we'll add our next meeting for May the 28th. In the meantime, as we get the peer reviews, suggestions back, we can continue working on the course like we've been working independently, so that by the time we meet back on the 28th, you've had a chance to look at the suggestions, kind of hash through with the two different courses, what you want to add, or if there's anything that needs to be added that we didn't think of before and that sort of thing. With the idea being when we meet back on the 28th, that'll be, we'll be ready for hopefully final look at with our eyes before we release it to the commission in general. That also includes the advisors. So we're going to look at it today, the advisors. There is some things that need to be, I'm still playing with the logistics of it. The contents there. It's just how to put it up so that it's user friendly that I'm kind of playing around with. So I had 2 other options that I put in today, but we will send out the peer review for the advisors sometime in the next week because we didn't want them to overlap, and get that back and have those changes in place so that both courses will have peer review and a chance to make any changes within the little within the course content for us to look at again on May the 28th. Does anyone have any comments, questions?
Commissioner Linker, this is Carmela Fair. I just wanted to ask if the meeting on the 28th will be at 2 o'clock again, or do I need to send out a poll to see what time works best?
Can we send out a poll, only because I know that Commissioner Jimenez wasn't able to join us today, and just to make sure what we could all commit to.
Okay. All right, thank you.
So with that being said, I guess we're to the point of looking at the course creations. And so if you've got a chance to log into the course, we're just going to look at the advisors course. And I kind of wanted some feedback. Last time we had a little issue with it showing the video, and it is going to require, you know, I'd put up 2 different options for how we wanted to do the slides, and one was, instead of it just being slides, it was more like a movie of the 3 slides together, or 4 slides together, which was the second thing in the welcome module. And that does require you to log in with a Google account. And while we do require that all advisors have a Google account, whether it be personal or school, for the process, I'm kind of thinking about maybe not using that for that reason. We've been working with that at school, within my school, and supporting the teachers in how to put up things for students. And it would be a student view that the advisors would be going through, and have discovered that really without logging into a Google account, you really can't view things like that, even if it's in a public folder, even if it is as unrestricted as you can make it, it's still asking for you to log into a Google account to view that. So given that, I played with, and I added just one of them because I wanted to get input on it. If we like it this way, it won't take long to do it. But if you'll look at, and you can look at it not in student view, but then if you want to look at it in student view to see what it would look like from advisors, feel free to do that. But in that first module, it also says, what is textbook commission? And if you click on that, you'll see that it is the first slide. Actually, it's the second slide. And that slide is the one that was hyperlinked to the State Board of Education Policy Textbook Commission Text 003. Part of the thing that we wanted them to, them being the advisors, to do was to be able to have a quick little intro slide, and then to click onto the link to read the link. And then after that, to indicate that they had read the material that we're asking them to preview previous to them having a webinar with Dr. Fair. So that has it as an assignment, and the assignment would be to submit in the text entry, just type in their name. That would and the fact that they would type in their name and submit indicates that they have read what we've asked them to read. In the case of this particular assignment, it is, we've asked them to read Textbook Commission, State Board Policy Textbook Commission Text 003. Clicking on that hyperlink and then look at it out externally, because that'll pull it up, take them straight to the site, and then they're indicating that they did look at it. So from your point of view, from what you guys can see of it, how does that sound?
This is Commissioner Seiss. I mean, it's really easy to follow. I can't imagine that they would have a problem
I think that's the biggest thing. It's not everyone in the state is in Canvas, and so the learning
Yeah.
curve, I want it to be something that they haven't had experience with, and it becomes more of an issue when we're really trying to modernize and streamline the procedure.
Now,
So
I'm sorry, Commissioner Sites, a quick question about the Google accounts that you were talking about.
Yeah.
So, do you know, do the Google accounts have to be linked to a school since this is one through DPI, or could it just be like a Gmail account? I just wonder about the parent advisors.
I would think that it wouldn't have to be through DPI just because I can click on it and my account it's school, but it's not state.
Okay.
If that makes sense?
Yeah. Hmm.
So I think it just is requiring that you log into a Google account, which really kind of surprised me because I thought because I made the folder public, anybody with the link could view, that it wouldn't require that, but it is. The only way around it would be just to put in, instead of embedding the link, would be to insert the link like an external URL code, and that's just a page with a link, which is not very user friendly or appealing in my mind.
I think that just adds an extra. Commissioner Sice, I'm sorry. I think that just adds an extra step that, like you said, people that don't have experience with Canvas, that just might be and I know to us it's a simple step, but if you're looking at the people that don't have a lot of experience, I think that's an unnecessary step.
And if I make it an assignment and I can, and this is, so the image that I put up was a PDF. No, the image that I put up was an image, but I uploaded it to, like I did the other ones. And so it still gives it a nice visual, but there's a place for them to go. I also cannot hyperlink, and Commissioner Jimenez and I are kind of troubleshooting that on the side. I can't find a way to hyperlink within a PDF or a slide or an image in an assignment, like within the picture itself or within the image. So for instance, the PDF of this had a hyperlink in it, but even if I made you go to the PDF and didn't insert it like a picture, it still didn't have the hyperlink, if that makes sense. And so I really they need to be able to see this little quick overview, click on a hyperlink to get to the information that we want them to preview and in the least stressful way, and then sign off that they've done what we've asked them to do. And they also have to go in order. So they would have to do this slide and then the next slide, which the next slide will be the one that defines what a textbook is. And then they would go to that slide and then indicate that they did look at it and so forth until we can get, there's some certain criteria that we need them to read and know that they have read it before we start, before we show up on site. Like all of this will be done before they even had their webinar with Dr. Fair, after they're officially given the, you know, hey, the letter that says, you know, you've been selected, thank you, here's information we need you to look at, and then on this date, the date to be decided yet, on this date, you need to have A, B, C, D done, and then that date will be when Dr. Fair has her webinar where she goes over the other things. I know we need to add, because I've just got the information, and because we don't have dates, some of this stuff is just going to be like a placeholder, so that when we have specific dates, we'll change out to one that actually has the dates in it. But just to know where it would go in the course. But there's information that they'll be shared to them about the logistics of transportation, accommodations, mileage, that kind of information. I have not made that module live yet. I just created it. And so that will be added in the next week. I've got everything ready to put in it. I just was trying to decide what kind of format that to use. And I'm thinking maybe this same format, like a slide and then a link to where it is. Commissioner Flowers and I were talking earlier, and she's got some insight too of some ways to make it more user friendly, that we're going to start incorporating some of the things that we're both learning as we are using Canvas ourselves. Does anybody else have any questions?
Commissioner Sykes, I think it looks good, Katie. I mean, I don't think you could have made it any easier.
So we'll just follow this format with what was in that slideshow, and then the things that I've already put up in the second one, I might redo. So instead of it just being the image, it's the image in an assignment with the link for the same process. The only thing I need to do, and Commissioner Jimenez is going to jump on tomorrow and kind of help me through it, is I can't figure out how to do mark complete. Like we've got it where it's got the prerequisites where once you're in the student view, you go from this slide and you have to complete that assignment before you can go to the next slide. But there's some things that they don't really need to go in to, indicate they've read something. But there's a way that you can mark it complete up at the top, and then that lets them go to the next part of the sequence. Unless anybody else knows how to do that.
This is Commissioner Flowers. I'm not exactly sure, but I do have a resource that I can go to find out that uses that feature frequently.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Like the slide, like just to have it where up at the top it does that mark complete, and they just click that, and then it lets them go to the next area, especially maybe at the end of the module that they mark that they've completed everything. That's another way that they know they haven't missed something as they're going through it. And then one other thing I have to do, and I thought we did, but when I went to the student view again last night, I realized, it dawned on me it wasn't. But when you log on our front page, the general introduction page, that's not, I thought we had it where that would go straight to the first module, but apparently not. So the prerequisites don't start until the discussion in the first module, in the welcome module. And so we need to go back and make sure that that landing page is, you click on that and it takes you to module 1. Because all the things down the side, they're not going to all be there. They won't have the choice to go to discussions and pages and files and syllabus. It's on the left-hand side. It'll just be, you log on, here's your landing page, click here, and it starts. Is there any other suggestions? I made a note to make some changes to the slides to be like the what is the textbook commission slide that we're looking at. Again, if you won't see it because they're not, I don't think I made them live. Maybe I did. We intended to make them live, but the modules they're specifically for, no, they're not live. There's one for Math 9-12, one for CTE 6 through 12, and one through ELEC. That's not going to be those modules are going to be just a housing, a way to house, a link to get to their standards, and a link to get to the criteria sheet. So like everything's in one place for them. So that's just a matter of uploading the links. I have them, and Commissioner Flowers already uploaded some of them. They're in the files for the course. We just need to connect them to the module. Those 3 modules won't have a lot of information, just a location. That could also be something that I'm envisioning, that when they're at evaluation week, within that, if you're in the 9-12 math room, you could put up the the Google form or how you're tracking who's doing what number, so they also have it somewhere they can pull up. So things like that will be added as we get closer to the date. Kind of like a one-stop shop where everything's in one place, and we can say if you have a question, you can go into the Canvas module. Or if you want an example of it, it's in the Canvas module. So that's all I have. Commissioner Flowers, did you want to add anything?
No, thank you. I'm good.
This is Carmela, Commissioner Linker.
Yes, ma'am.
On your page where you're going to have the advisors to introduce themselves, and you're asking them about replying and uploading a picture and all of those things, I'll need to get you the media release form.
Okay.
What we did in another thing that I was working on that required them to upload a picture was we put the media release form where they could access it and then send it back to us so that as they uploaded their picture, they realized what they were agreeing to. So I'll share that with you so you can play around with that in the course.
Is that something that they can submit through the course?
Yes, they just sign it and agree, make an agreement and sign. So it doesn't have any personal information in it.
So is that something that maybe we could copy it and make it a slide and then have them sign underneath that they agree, like the assignment, or do you just want it, you need it on the form?
It's the form is one that we require anyway from them.
So we'll just go into the form.
It would have.
So we can go and do the form if that's something that you need anyway.
Yeah, they're going to have to submit it anyway. So I was going to say either it can be a part of their packet that they get to me and then do this, or they can do it when they do this and then it won't be in their packet. Or I can just include in the packet anyway, because there may be some who don't submit and we still need to remind them that they need to submit.
Or we can put it in both. You can send it in the packet and I can add it before the slide so that they don't do the slide until they've either until they've either sent it to you or they send it through this.
Okay.
Does that help? Like if I just add it before the introduction slide?
Yes, it can, but we can talk about it as you continue developing to see what would be the right spot for it.
Thank you. Is there anything else, Dr. Fair, that that you see that specifically? I know I've got some things from the slide, the order of the things that you required that I'm double checking to make sure that it's somewhere.
Right. I don't see anything right now. Everything looks good. I know you're still in development. So
Yes.
information I can share with you.
Okay, with that being said, if anyone else has any comments, if not, I think we're finished. We already have our next steps. We know our next meeting, and we've added onto the timeline. I'll go and add the next meeting and the on our timeline document. If anyone else has any comments or questions.
Commissioner Size, quick question. We said 2 o'clock for the 28th, correct?
We didn't say a time. Dr. Fair's going to send out another doodle poll.
All right, I missed it. Thank you.
Yeah, with the same times, the same time choices for the last two, do those work? Everyone seems to pick the afternoons, but I think it's good to have two options.
That's fine.
So Dr. Fair, in the next week or so, if you want to get that out, and then I'll get the agenda ready for it.
Okay.
Are there any other questions, comments, suggestions? If not, we can entertain a motion to adjourn.
Commissioner Size, motion to adjourn.
Okay, Commissioner Size made a motion. Going to have a second.
Commissioner Flowers, second.
So that's a second from Commissioner Flowers. Dr. Fairfield, do the call.
Okay, Commissioner William Cheshire,
I'm not showing him on. He may have got kicked off.
okay. Commissioner Angela Flowers,
Yes.
Commissioner Kathleen Linker,
Commissioner Linker, yes.
Commissioner Lindsay Sice,
Commissioner Sice, yes.
And so that's unanimous. So we will call it a day and be looking for some feedback from the peer reviews, and we'll see you back on the 28th.
Bye.
Good afternoon.
Bye-bye.